So welcome to the session today. Our topic is the meaning of success, and there's two important words in this topic. One is meaning, and the other is success. And we'll look at both of them, but in particular, of course, the word success and some different aspects that I found interesting regarding this subject. Because it's a big thing for us as human beings, as people. We want our life to be meaningful and successful. And of course, our definition of success maybe is different for different people. And maybe even our own personal definition of success changes as we change. So maybe as a teenager, how you defined success was different to how you defined it in, 10 years later, 15, 20 years later, and or many years later. And now it could have changed many times. And I know that for me, the definition of success was really, people who, for example, were confident and sure of themselves and able to, make pathways into life. But now maybe I think of it in a different way. Actually, I think of success as there being meaning in my life, you know, where my life is meaningful to me and meaningful to the world. And so there's a lot of different aspects within that. And so we might, if you look at success in a very maybe external way, that with a limited criteria, with the criteria of the external dimension, um, you could say that to be successful means that you achieve what you set out to achieve, which could be to have a comfortable income, to have a nice family, or have a family, have a place to stay, be able to, do and use whatever it is that you want to do. And so, this is something that actually we learn, about what success may mean. But of course, the yeah. So, however, success is that is part of success. But I think the issue comes up when we think that's the only thing. So the external success is the only thing. And so that's when we begin to have some issues about it. Because if I have success on an external basis, then I may or may not have fulfillment in my life. So it may be that I have everything on an external level, but on an internal level, I feel discontented, dissatisfied. However, if I have success on an internal level, then even if I do not have the superficial trappings of success, then my life can be a life of contentment. And so this is where we look at some of the aspects of internal success. Just going to stop here a moment because I actually have to move. Unfortunately, I'd forgotten that there was someone coming here just now. So I'm going to put the video off just for a couple of minutes and just leave you to reflect for a minute on what is success on an internal level. Okay, so we'll be together in just a minute. Okay, so thinking about the aspect of our success on an internal level, you know, which is maybe where it starts from, where I see the beginning, the middle, and the end of anything, any choice that I'm making, any situation that I'm in, anything that I wish to um, that I wish to achieve or I wish to overcome. You know. So I think that the success is included is or consists of each of these three phases of whatever it is that I'm doing. So the beginning, the middle, and the end. You know. So the beginning of anything, I might, for example, set myself a goal for today. You know, that today I want to read, you know, or I want to write a report today. I want to do a particular thing. I want to go for a walk for a couple of hours, or I want to um, you know, be able to read a certain amount of this particular book. I want to study something. So I set myself an aim. Now, the the thing is that the beginning of that means my intention. So, what is the energy that I'm putting into that task that I'm setting out to do? If the energy I'm putting in, I'm aware of that and I consciously choose that, then that in a way will guarantee a certain level of success anyway. Because when the intention is pure and is powerful and is positive, then in a sense, half the effort is already done, actually. Of course, it's not everything, but it's a lot. So the beginning I see as our intention, no, and that's always very very important to be aware of and to set consciously, no, before any task, before I do anything. So if I decide that I want to go for a long walk, so what is it? Do I? What am I? What is it that I? What's the reason that I would like to do that? You know, maybe I feel that I want my body and my mind to be in optimum health. You know, I want to maintain my energies. I want to give exercise to my body. I want to be able to meditate as I'm walking. You know. So I want to be able to spread the energy of peace wherever I set foot. So my intention may be that, you know, or if I have a meeting, for example, I have a meeting with someone or I need to have a conversation with someone, then it's really useful to set my intention. And then however it actually goes is another part of it. You know. So often we define our success just as the outcome, based on only the outcome. And in fact, if I haven't set my intention and I haven't guided the middle, you know, so the beginning, the middle, and the end, then of course the only thing that's fresh in my mind is the actual outcome. That oh, it went badly, or yeah, I didn't really go as well as I wanted to go. And so then we end up often feeling bad about it and feeling that we're not successful, we're not good at this, we're not good enough, and then we start to judge ourselves about based on that. So I find it very useful to break it down into these three areas in a sense. And so the beginning, the middle, and the end of anything that I choose to do. And so if for example it's a meeting and I say, okay, well, what's my intention? That's the beginning. And so I can be successful in setting a powerful and a positive intention. And so that's already one success. And then the middle is how I actually go about that task. So I might be in the meeting. Am I able to maintain an attitude that is detached and loving, that is like a witness, that is observing, that is able to have the stability of mind, the, in a sense, a little bit of a neutral perspective? And am I able to speak based on my principles? So, one of my principles might be peace and nonviolence. So if I say nonviolence is really important to me, it's one of my basic principles. So am I able to speak to another person or to the group in a way that is nonviolent, which is in accordance with my principles? Or am I in some way either blaming or making people feel guilty, or in some way manipulating, or am I forcing something, um, demanding? It might be anything that is actually, in the end, a form of violence which is going against my own principles. So, so this middle bit is, am I following my own code of conduct? And to be successful in that is a big thing, because it means that I'm actually increasing my own self-respect and my trust in myself. And that is a huge success, to be able to do that, to be able to trust yourself. I mean, that is really, really valuable. That is a huge um, income, actually, a huge wealth. And so we have this bit in the middle, shall we say, of any task, of any situation, is the principles that I actually follow whilst I'm going through that task. And that is one of the phases of internal success. So it might be that in the meeting, I end up looking really bad because no one liked my idea. And, for whatever reason, it looks like it was not successful, the outcome. However, I will then go back and say, okay, even if, you know, people thought I was crazy or people didn't like what I was saying, but actually maybe I stood up for myself, you know, or I was able to express what I thought is important for the highest good of the maximum number of people. And so even though it was going against what someone important in the meeting wanted, but I was able to stick to my principles. And so I will feel good with myself about that. I may feel like my ego is a bit hurt, because obviously, you know, no one likes to be criticized or seen badly, in a bad light. But actually, deeper than that is that sense of actually true success, where I have managed to stick by what is important to me. So that's the middle bit. And then the end, so the outcome of whatever it is that I've set out to do. I can, however it goes, in a sense, the actual practical outcome is not that important in the sense of our definition of internal success. So whether it's decided that it's going to be blue or it's going to be green actually is secondary. What's important is what I do inside with what's happening. So am I using that to feed my ego, or am I using that to feed my self-respect? And so even if something went completely not the way I wanted it to go. You know. But am I using that to continually feel bad and angry and upset, and that this shouldn't have been like that, have many, many waste thoughts, and feel unfair and criticized, and etc., etc., which is basically feeding the ego, which means that I was attached to my idea, and if it was not chosen, or if it didn't go that the way I think it should have gone, then naturally my ego will be hurt, and I will try to nurse my ego. you know. So I use the outcome, the result of whatever that meeting or that task, to um, basically from an ego point of view. Or I might use it to say, okay, well, it didn't go the way I thought it would go, but what did I learn from that? You know? And I remember my intention. I remember what I did, what my attitude was during the event, and I nourish my self respect and, of course, humility, because especially if it didn't go the way I wanted it to go, but if I learn something, then I'm actually strengthening my humility and therefore my self respect. So I found it quite interesting to think about internal success and the true meaning of success from these three particular points of view. So, from the beginning, the middle, and the end of any task or any situation or any particular moment that I might be in or I might be going into. And it's also very interesting because in Hindi, this word success, which is safalta, also means to use something, which could be resources or energy, time, wealth, whatever, in a worthwhile way. So to use it well. No? And so it's it's there's a saying that when you use something well, that is when it is successful. So for example, I might have I don't know, someone, an aunt wants to give me a gift of some money, for example, and and that's very kind, it's very nice and very useful. So now I have this money, a little bit of money. And so I say, okay, how am I going to use this? Can I use it in a worthwhile way? That, in other words, that it is successful. So her her act of generosity, of kindness, whatever it is, in a sense, has been successful. You know? Also because I have chosen to use it in a worthwhile way. And so that is also my success. And it is also the success of that gift or that money that was given. So it's like every phase of every choice, every action, which includes our thoughts and our words, has that potential for success to be used in a worthwhile way. So for um, to look at the highest possible benefit for the highest number of people, which might be to use it for the self, because if I um, if I am taking care of myself, if I am using something that is necessary for me, then I will be more available also to share something else with others that maybe I wouldn't have otherwise. No. And so um, it's very interesting to think about success in that overall way. And I find it very useful, certainly, especially um, in terms of our self-respect. because it's very, very easy for the self respect to fluctuate depending on the outcome of certain situations. At least that's been my experience. Is that if I base my self respect on whether something went well or something went badly, whether people think what people think about it, um, what is my judgment about it, then it's very easy to go up and down in our moods, in our value for ourselves, in really our consideration for ourselves. And so that's why looking at my intentions, looking at my principles, is also reinforcing it. And then I think that what happens is that the external criteria or the external elements of success will, in a sense, naturally become present, and I won't have to worry about them. You know, often people say that, oh, you should worry about, um, if you don't have this and if you don't have that, then it's going to be difficult. you know. But I mean, I always remember this story, this which maybe you've heard before, but about the orange seller. I don't know if you've heard that story about, there was this orange seller who, it was, he had a stall on the street with lots of oranges, and it was midday, and so he was dozing off, and this wealthy businessman who was, waiting for his train, because the stall was just outside the train station. And he came and he shouted at the boy and said, Why are you sleeping? If you're, how can you do good business if you're sleeping?" And the boy woke up and said, "Oh, yes, what would you like?" And so this businessman said, if you were more alert and more awake, then you would be able to have two stalls rather than just one. And in fact, you would be able to have a shop, and then you would be able to sell much more, and you would be able to sell much more than just oranges. And then, and so the boy said, "And then what would I have?" And the businessman continued, "And then you would be able to have a nice house and a family, and you would earn a lot, and then you'd be able to sleep peacefully at night." And the boy said, "Well, I'm already sleeping peacefully." And so actually, actually, it's very interesting because, in a sense, the external criteria or the elements of success are often actually, we already have those. We already have the reason why we might want them. So for example, I want to go on an exotic holiday. um, why? Because I just want to be, I want to relax, I want to be peaceful, I want to have a good time, I want to eat good food. you know And why all of that? Because I want, yes, I want to be peaceful and I want to feel content. And so, actually, the reason why I want anything is not external, but it's like we try to get peace and contentment from external means. And this is quite obvious, in a sense, anyone on a spiritual path or with any kind of spiritual study is aware of that. And so it's so the real success, I feel, is yes, it's nice to be comfortable and to have all the external things, and there's nothing wrong with that. But I think that the true satisfaction, the true fulfillment rather, comes when it's all the way along, from the beginning through the middle to the end. you know and of course, the end is always the beginning of something else. you know and so whatever seed I'm sowing in terms of my intention, that is the kind of fruit that I'm going to reap. You know? So a sweet, healthy seed is going to bring me a sweet, healthy fruit. You know? And I think that's why success at the cost of other people, or success at the cost of um, my character or my conscience, is really quite bitter in the end, no, or is tasteless and doesn't give me the meaning that I want. No. So I don't know if you can think of any time that you forced something through, maybe as a younger person, to force that I want my way, I must have my way. And maybe I get my way, but then in the end, I realized, well, actually, maybe it wasn't that I wanted anyway. And then, of course, the question is, what do I really want? And to be able to be successful in that means to use what I have in a worthwhile way. No. So, just another thought is that success doesn't necessarily mean winning, as we've seen before, but it means to it means to wish for the highest good, highest possible outcome, the best possible outcome of any particular situation, which is best not just for me, but it's for all of us. You know? So maybe someone made a mistake, for example. They did something that they shouldn't have done, or they, jumped the gun and didn't check something out, and they did it anyway, thinking that it was okay, but in fact it wasn't okay. So now, um, what is my response to that? Am I going to point it out and rub it in and make them feel bad about it? Or am I going to, yes, um, not sweep it under the carpet, but acknowledge it, but say, okay, what can we do? What's going to be the best possible outcome for all of us and for this situation? And so that kind of attitude, I think, brings that sense of winning, but not over other people, but over the negative energy. So it could be that, that I decide to set boundaries, or I decide to stand up for myself, whatever it might be. But it's about checking the highest, the best possible outcome. You know? And I think it's useful to visualize that as well. And then to surrender it. You know? And so it's a very, this thing of success, especially in terms of the last phase, so the outcome, we need to learn how to surrender that, in a sense, to let go of it. So something may have turned out the way I want it to be, um, and I can be happy with that, and that's great. And then I need to, in a sense, let go of it and not use it to feed any kind of ego or arrogance or sense of one-upmanship. So I'm better than you because because I got what I wanted out of it, and I was right and you were wrong, kind of thing. you know. And so to be able to surrender that success is part of the whole subject of equanimity, to be able to be equal in victory and in defeat, in success and in failure. And in fact, this is also connected with, as mentioned before, with developing true humility, which we can do by saying, okay, what did I learn from this? And then even the outcome becomes actually successful. know. So even though it looks like it was a failure, the whole world might think, yeah, this person failed. They didn't manage. But if I was able to use that to get stronger, to become more resilient, then it was my success. And actually, then everyone else's success too. And that's where the gratitude comes in as well. Because when I've really learned something, then I will feel the sense of gratitude, no matter how it went. So these were just a few thoughts, and I have something I want to read. But before that, I want to see if you have anything that you'd like to share on this subject, any thoughts, um, or any comments, or anything that you want to clarify or share. So that's right. Just looking at the chat here. So Laura's saying that it's an excellent argument, and too often success is linked with what you have instead of what you are. Right. Yes. Thank you.
So, Radha, this is Marco.
Hello, Marco.
Hello to you and everybody. Well, in this time of coronavirus, spending a lot of time inside and not being able to do a lot of, let's say, external things, I I've been looking at this question of what does it mean to be successful, and I dropped all of these external things, finishing things, achieving this or that, and I have been practicing. For me, what it means is to feel fully alive in the moment, to really be grateful for the people in my life, the love in my life, all that I have, the incredible abundance. I think that sometimes we go look for something out when there is such a blessing and abundance and beauty and love and anything right where we are, and to me, I feel successful when I can do that, when I can feel I'm alive in the moment and I'm truly enjoying with ease and lightness whatever it is I'm doing right now. So that's my little reflection.
Thank you, Marco. That's really beautiful. Really true. Something that we can all practice, maybe to feel alive in this moment and be grateful. Not because we should be grateful, but really, really appreciating and seeing the beauty and the deep value, the intrinsic value of everyone and everything. Great.
Hello, I am Sandra.
Hello.
Yes, I was thinking about the successful, and I was thinking in two ways because there is one moment that I need to how you say, to take care about my wounds, at psychological level. I feel successful. I felt, in fact, successful when I was respected as a person. But that was because my history, I had a lot of situation that I wasn't, and I felt other people weren't respected. But this is what I need still to work in this way. But I really feel successful when I feel peace. And for example, this I find out when I was in meetings or in a situation where two people, they were argument and I achieve, not only me, but the goal was that they start to speak between them and start to understand each other. I felt really successful at that moment when I felt the peace between the other people and between between my daughters, for example, as well, when they are they have a quarrel, you know, they are argument between. You say argument. I don't know how my English is horrible, but when they are fighting between them, but then when I am trying to make peace between them, and they reach the peace and they understand between them, I really feel successful.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
Okay.
Thank you. That's really beautiful definition as well, is when you reach the peace and when you are peaceful and share and spread that peace on a practical level. It's great. Okay. So I'd like to read a little piece, and then if anyone wants to share anything more, most welcome. And this is by Dadi Janki from her book Companion of God, and it's called Success. So success means to reach such a constant level of positive thoughts that pure actions happen naturally. Pure actions are like good seeds, which when planted produce healthy, sweet fruit. As you sow, so shall you reap. Concern for the quality of my actions today ensures the success of my tomorrow. Virtues are the mainstay in this. Success like this requires hope, and hope in today's world requires courage. It is a matter of working from the strength of your convictions, which is a spiritual kind of honesty. So, to be able to have hope where maybe there is no hope, you know, so to consider something that everyone thinks is impossible, to say, no, actually, why not? This is possible. And to see through the barriers and the obstacles, and to know that only the best will happen. And so these are the strength of my convictions that we will do it. I will get through. I am okay. I am strong. And to be able to take the help that I need, but to go, to have the courage, you know, and to honestly know and check where I'm at, you know, and maybe what I need. So balance these qualities, and your path will be easy. You will only move forward and your success will be assured. You know? And so this is why there's this saying that determination guarantees success, or determination is the key to success. And so it's not a question of the outcome, but it's a question of what's going on the way. You know? So courage alone doesn't bring success. If there's only courage, then there will be ego. It's courage plus honesty which brings God's help. And this is what guarantees success. God is getting it done through me. I am simply an instrument in this task. These are honest thoughts which elicit God's help and protection. Humility is the result of such honesty and courage. A life of enthusiasm, courage, honesty, and humility is inspirational. It is a way of helping others become successful too. And so, this thing of considering the self to be an instrument is a very useful and very practical thing. You can also think of the self as a trustee. You know, so I am here to, in a sense, I have this task in trust, that I perform the task and then I hand it back over. So I hand, in a sense, the responsibility over. So I'm still there, I'm still doing everything, but I don't hold on, I don't grasp on to the the ownership of that. So there's enough, in a sense, there's enough ownership to be able to do it in a way, to do it from the heart, but not so much that I become attached to it, that I become possessive of that. And so if I find that I'm getting just a little bit too clingy to this idea or to the outcome, I'm beginning to worry, that's when I need to hand it over. I need to remember that I'm a trustee for this. And I'm, it's really beautiful to think that this is God's task and I'm helping that. Because what would God's task be? To spread peace, to create harmony, to be benevolent, to be compassionate, to be loving, to generate harmony within our society. This is God's task. So whenever I'm doing that, I'm helping. And it's a very elevating consciousness to think, okay, I'm cooperating with this being who has the highest good in his heart for each being. And however, on the other side, if I find that I'm maybe, a little bit distant from the motivation and the intention, then I need to go further into it. And I need to check, what's my intention? What's the love that I'm bringing to this task? What's the heart? You know? And so, depending on where we're at, we need to use different methods to come back to the balance. So, there's quite a lot in that subject, and I think it's worthwhile just to reflect on that and check for each one, what is your definition of success. And so it's been nice to hear from a couple of you. So we'll reflect on that now and we'll have a meditation. So find a comfortable position, take a deep breath. If you need to move a little bit, move. And maybe just take this time specially for you so that you're not interrupted, just for about 7-8 minutes. So I take a deep breath and I allow my body to be comfortable. I check from my feet going all the way up to the top of my head. Everything relaxed, comfortable. All the muscles become completely free. And I become light. I draw my attention inwards to the center of my forehead, behind the eyes. And I visualize myself as a being of light, warm, strong, pure, blissful light. And the coolness, the energy that is emanating, radiating from my being touches my mind, and my mind calms down, opens out, and relaxes. I let this cooling energy soothe my consciousness. I feel the peace that is coming from the very core of my being. And I realize that in this moment, to be successful means to be connected to myself, to my original state of peace, who I am deeply. I stay with that for a moment. And as I watch my own mind, I create one powerful, positive thought for the rest of the afternoon. And this determined thought is about how I want to be. What quality or what virtue would I like to apply this afternoon? What spiritual wealth in the form of a virtue will be useful for me to make a particular situation easy, smooth, beneficial, and benevolent. It is like having a jewel box. I open the jewel box of virtues and qualities, and I take out one that draws my attention, and I put on that jewel. It might be something that goes around my neck, that reminds me to speak sweet words, to be honest, to stay in my truth, to share from my heart, to be open. Whatever it is, I use it in a worthwhile way. And success is guaranteed. And as I enjoy my inner dimension, my inner laboratory, I know that I can return here at will. So now I once again take a deep breath. Gently bring my attention once again to my physical surroundings, to how my body feels, and to engaging with others. At the same time, I keep the memory and the connection of my inner world close and vivid.